Today, we're unpacking the modern Canadian supply chain landscape. We've literally dug into a massive collection of recent, real-world job postings to figure out exactly what employers are looking for right now. Whether you're already in the industry or you just want to understand how the backbone of global trade actually functions, well, let's decode exactly what it takes to succeed in this field.
Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever wondered what it actually takes to manage millions of dollars in corporate spending? Seriously, think about it. In today's volatile, hyper-connected world, supply chains are constantly under immense pressure. A single disruption can cost a company millions, and the professionals tasked with preventing those disasters, well, they hold some of the absolutely most high-stakes roles in the modern economy. So, to really understand these roles, we first need to redefine our terms. Procurement? It's not just purchasing anymore. The raw data from these job postings shows that it has evolved far beyond simple order taking. Actually, it's the strategic sourcing of materials, proactive risk mitigation, and ultimately the absolute protection of corporate margins. These professionals are critical drivers of corporate strategy.
So, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to hit the Canadian procurement landscape, core responsibilities and duties, the essential skill stack, salaries, perks, and benefits, and finally, the strategic sourcing evolution. Let's get into it. Section 1. The Canadian procurement landscape, from board games to data centers.
Just look at the sheer contrast here. It's kind of wild. One day you might be at EdCon sourcing literally thousands of tons of steel for mega infrastructure projects, and the next you could be at Asmodee, managing the global production of board games. From buying aerospace sheet metal parts for Fleet Canada, to sourcing mission-critical components for data centers at Dalmaco and Corp, right down to buying materials for greenhouse tomatoes at Mucci Farms, the landscape is just incredibly vast and highly adaptable.
Moving on to Section 2. Core responsibilities and duties. The day-to-day execution.
So what are they actually doing all day? It really creates a complete project lifecycle. First up, you have what I like to call sourcing and negotiating SWOT. That's identifying suppliers, firing out RFQs, and locking in rigorous contracts. Next is inventory and logistics control. And hey, this isn't just counting boxes in a warehouse, it's managing international freight logistics, navigating customs, and optimizing flow. Finally, cross-functional collaboration. Now, why this matters to you is that you are absolutely not operating in a silo. You are the central hub. You're resolving field issues with site teams, you're aligning with engineering, and you're reporting directly to finance.
All right, Section 3, the essential skills stack, building the ultimate professional.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the intense juxtaposition between the analytical and the interpersonal. On the hard skills side, you need mastery of complex ERP systems like SAP and Oracle, advanced Excel capabilities, we're talking serious spreadsheets here, formal designations like SCMP, and deep knowledge of trade compliance like CUSMA. But, and this is a big but, if you want to stand out, you have to balance that ruthless analytical rigor with top-tier soft skills. We're talking executive-level negotiation, building long-term supplier relationships, and demonstrating cross-functional leadership. You basically have to be a data wizard who is also incredibly persuasive.
And depending on the industry, that expertise needs to be highly adaptable and, honestly, sometimes incredibly niche. Take Advanced SkyTech, an IT hardware company. They specifically require native Mandarin speakers for global tech sourcing. Or Asmodee, who explicitly asks for a deep passion and knowledge of the board game industry. If you work in pharma manufacturing, you absolutely need strict FDA and CGMP regulatory knowledge. Or say you're sourcing for heavy machinery at a company like Rotte, you actually need the technical literacy to sit down, read, and interpret mechanical blueprints. No way around it.
Section 4. Salaries, perks, and benefits. The reward for the skill. So the crucial point is, how does the market actually reward these skills? Let's look at the actual numbers anchored in the data we've analyzed. There is a clear, definitive financial progression here. You might start out as an international procurement coordinator, making between $45,000 to $65,000. But as you gain expertise and step into leadership, a procurement manager role at a company like Mac and Kelowna bumps you right up to the $80,000 to $100,000 range. Specialize even further as an MRO category manager, and you're seeing $90,000 to $110,000. And if you're managing procurement for massive projects, like those mission-critical data centers in Montreal, you're looking at a cool $100,000 to $150,000 a year. But unlocking those top-tier roles, that doesn't just happen overnight. To land a senior procurement management position at an industrial giant like Aecon, employers are looking for 10+ years of relevant experience. It requires a decade or more of grinding, really mastering the profession, improving time and again your ability to handle massive commercial risk.
Now, beyond the base salary, companies are fiercely competing for talent using some pretty unique cultural perks. Sure, you see the standard corporate benefits, right? RSSP matching, tuition reimbursement, hybrid schedules, maybe 3 days in the office. But look at the cultural incentives. Asmodee offers heavy discounts on their board games and actually hosts game nights. The Macker Group boasts a fun culture with mandatory product testing of their playground and splash pad equipment, which, let's be honest, sounds like a pretty great Tuesday. And a lot of companies are also offering paid volunteer days, recognizing that today's professionals really want to give back to their communities.
However, it is definitely not all fun and games and splash pads. For industrial and construction giants, culture means something entirely different. Take this exact quote from Econ. Safety always is not only our #1 core value, it is the standard that anchors our culture. For these heavy industry roles, corporate culture and safety compliance are completely intrinsically intertwined with the procurement process. You aren't just buying steel, you are ensuring that every single product meets rigorous standards to literally keep workers alive.
And that brings us to Section 5, the strategic sourcing evolution, the future of the profession. And this brilliantly illustrates a massive shift across all these job postings. Traditional purchasing, it used to be all about tactical order execution, reactive buying and basic price haggling. But today's strategic sourcing is an entirely different beast. It requires proactive risk mitigation, ensuring ESG and environmental compliance, and calculating the total cost of ownership rather than just looking at the sticker price. It's an absolute evolution from a transactional back-office function to a full-on strategic powerhouse. So if there is one core takeaway you need to apply to your own understanding of the business world, it is this. Procurement is the engine that drives supply continuity, mitigates geopolitical risks, and ensures corporate survival. Companies are no longer just looking for someone to push paper and place purchase orders. They are actively seeking high-level business partners who can steer their operations through global uncertainty. So, I'll leave you with this question. Are you ready to become a strategic partner? The opportunities in the Canadian supply chain are incredibly diverse. They're highly lucrative, and honestly, they're more vital right now than ever before. Take these insights, use this playbook to level up your skill stack, and step into a role that truly drives the future of global business.